The experience on driving on the other side of the road with the kids sitting in the back, were you very nervous the first time you had to do that? And did you have to, for example, be the transporter to and from school? And did you do those sort of chores by car?
The first time I drove with the kids in the back of the car was very nerve-wracking, and more so because I had my host dad. The first week I was there, he drove with me everywhere just to make sure I was comfortable. And yes, it's very nervous because you have two lives in the back seats, and they're your job. You don't want anything to happen to them. Um, but you get used to it, and there were a few times where I had to, in the beginning say, could you guys please keep it down? This is, I have to concentrate. It's very nerve-wracking for me at the moment. But after a while, you get very easy. It becomes so much more easy, and you play music, you sing along with the kids, but of course, paying attention to the road. And with the kids, often I took back roads, so I didn't have to go on the highway too much. But of course, in my last 6 months there, I became very brave. So, I took them anywhere they wanted to go on the highway. Nothing was a problem for me. The first time I went on the highway was actually by myself, was to visit family down in Fort Lauderdale, which is supposed to be 30 minutes from where I live. And so, I had my GPS in the car, climbed in my car, got onto the highway, and immediately started freaking out because I come from a small town, Nelspruit. I've never been exposed to highways. And so, I was driving along and completely freaked out. And of course, you have to drive fast, otherwise people get annoyed with you. And the fast lane is on the opposite, on the right-hand side of the road, not the left-hand side. So it's all very confusing in the beginning. And I was driving and then realized that the GPS was on mute and I'd been going the wrong way. So at the end of the day, a 30-minute drive took me an hour and a half, but thankfully I reached my destination safely. And after that time on the highway, I was always fine. It was just, that first time you drive on the highway, it's very, very nerve-wracking. So I would suggest to people, go on the highway by yourself, test it out quite a bit before you decide to take your kids with you in the car, because you don't want something to happen with them. As far as me driving the kids around, I had a bus stop that came to our street. So in the morning and afternoon, I picked the kids up from there. But my children in particular had a very, very busy schedule. They were always doing something in the afternoon and evening. So I would often have to drive them around to their sports practices or dance practice, or, things happening, carnivals happening at the school and so on. And the distance would be anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes away. But I mean, after time, you get so much more used to it. But yes, driving was definitely a big part of my job with this particular family.
Carmen, how was it? Did you get sick when you were over there at all? Did you have to go to hospital at any stage or visit a doctor at any point?
When I was in America, I never got sick for the first year I was there. Perhaps the occasional flu or something along those lines. But I was very fortunate in the fact that my mother was a doctor. So, if I ever felt something, I would say to her, is this okay? And she'd be like, no, just take those pills in the cupboard, you'll be fine. But the last 6 months I was there, I got an eye infection. And she had actually, because I thought it was just a sty, you put a hot cloth on it, eventually it goes away, but this was not going away. So she actually said to me, can you please go to a doctor? And that for me was probably one of the most annoying processes while I was in America, was actually being able to use the travel insurance, finding a place to go. My whole process from start to finish, I phoned my area director in Florida, and I said to her, okay, I need to go to a doctor, this, and this, where do I go? And she said, she honestly doesn't know. I have to phone the travel insurance and find out where I can go. So I literally spent a day phoning these people, trying to find out what doctor I could go and see in my area. Eventually, they gave me the name of the place, and it actually happened to be just 10 minutes down the road. So I went to the doctor, gave them my insurance. I never had to pay for the consultation. The only thing I had to pay for was my medication at the pharmacy, which ended up being $100. But then, you fill out a form and you put your receipts and everything with it. And then I sent it off to the claims department, which is over in California. And then about a month later, I got a check back with my amount of money that I had spent for my medication. I've also since learned from girls that have also gone to the hospital that if you go and give them, you pay for your consultation and then you then take your receipt and send it off to them, they do visit you. But for me, that was one of the most annoying things while I was out there, was trying to actually find a doctor where I could go for, where I wouldn't have to pay money and where I would be able to use the travel insurance.
I appreciate your honesty there. It's good for people to know that. Carmen, as an overview of your time overseas, what do you feel that was the biggest attribute in your personality that allowed you to enjoy yourself as an au pair? If you had to look at a personality trait in young girls that would basically enable them to become a good au pair, what do you think that could be?
For me personally, I am already, I've always seen myself as a mature person, but when I was over there without my family, like I went from 0 to 60 overnight and I took on so much more responsibility onto myself. And I also became so much more caring. I still see those children as, as part of my family, and I'm still in contact with them. I send them an email, once a month, finding out how everyone is, because, they become a part of you. They're part of your daily routine, and you become very motherly and protective over them. And it's, I would almost say, good training for having your own kids one day, because you learn the do and don'ts, and you also learning from a mother herself. Um, Overall, it's, for me, it was a great thing to do. I had such a wonderful time out there. Yes, it was hard. There were moments where I was like, I want to go home. I can't do this anymore. But you push through that week. You get up the next day, and it just makes you so much more strong as a person to say that I haven't run home back to South Africa. I can actually do this. I can keep going, because you do get homesick, and there's those moments where you just want to jump on a plane and go back home. But each month you stay on, the more rewarded you feel in yourself, because you're like, yes, I can actually do this. I'm now an adult. I can do things for myself. And even though it's hard, I'm not a quitter. I haven't given up. And you create such a bond with the people that you work for and the family that you look after. And that alone just makes it all worth it. And also the fact that you're in America, you get to see so much more. You get to have such a wonderful experience. You get to make such great friends there as well. The whole thing is just, there are trying times, but it is definitely worth it.